Gone Before Goodbye is a brand new book that you can check out right now. It is written by both Reese Witherspoon in her first mystery slash thriller novel, which she wrote alongside Harlan Coben. This story focuses on a female plastic surgeon who had her medical license revoked for something that happened that I won't really get into. However, she is approached by some mysterious people that are offering her a lot of money, like $10 million, to jump on a plane with them and go to some unknown destination to work on some high-profile cases, kind of under the table. And if she does that, she's not only going to get the money, she's going to have her medical license back. All the financial problems that her family has are going to be wiped clean. All this. All she has to do is agree and go on the plane with them, not knowing where or who she's operating on. And as she does this, she soon discovers, of course, that there's more at play. There's a little bit of a conspiracy going on, lots of twists and turns that happen throughout the book, especially after the halfway point, and yada, yada, yada. So, I was really curious to read this for one main reason, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be the same. And that is that Reese Witherspoon not only wrote part of the book, but she also read the audiobook alongside a full cast that did the audiobook. Chris Pine was another voice of the audiobook. I think that is going to be the main draw for this book, unless you're also a fan of Harlan Coben. I think, in general, it's a good book. It's entertaining, especially in the first half, and then things really get to be a little bit crazy in the second half. Depending on who you are, you might prefer the first half, you might prefer the second half. I personally prefer the first half because that's the stuff that makes the most sense. The second half really goes off the rails with lots of twists and turns that you don't see coming because they don't clue you in. There's stuff going on behind the scenes because this is kind of a unreliable narrator type of story. You don't really know what's going on. And they'll be like, I was doing this behind the scenes the whole time, and you'll be like, were you though? Does that make a lot of sense? Because it feels like it was just forced to put in there. There's a couple things that I really want to know. I want to know how much influence Reese Witherspoon actually had in the story. I have a feeling that it's mostly just in creating or crafting this female medical doctor. Reese herself had said in other interviews that she sees this as kind of the Elle Woods, Legally Blonde, but in the medical profession. I don't see that. Legally Blonde's a comedy. This is a thriller, so I have a gut feeling that 99% of this book is Harlan Coben. I've read other reviews for this book, an analysis of this book, where people are like, I'm familiar with Harlan Coben, and this is 99% his DNA. And I'm not that surprised. Here's what I think happened. I think that they teamed up so that Reese Witherspoon would read the audiobook, headline the audiobook. Maybe she came up with her character. Maybe she came up with the backstory of the character and what's going on there. But 99% of the rest of it is probably Harlan Coben. Now, I can't say that for certain because I don't know anything about Harlan Coben. I don't think I read any of his other books until now. But in general, is it a good book? I think it's fine. I had a good enough time with it. It's nothing that I think is revolutionary. It's not the best book that I read all year. It has some good moments. Again, while other people might say the first half is slow and boring, I thought that that was the best part. That was the part that introduced the most mystery. What's really going on? Why is it going on? Why did they pick her to do this specifically at this point in time in her life? And why are they doing it here? All of this is great stuff. And then the second half happens. And then it's just topsy-turvy, twisty-turny, and I had no idea what's going on. But I will say, if you are a fan of audiobooks, I think that there's a good appeal to this one. It is a full cast audiobook starring Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, and I think 5 other actors playing different roles throughout. Unlike the Harry Potter audiobook that I read last week, this is not a full cast audiobook with music and sound effects and spatial sound. It literally is just actors reading lines, which is fine. But at the end of the day, what did I score Gone Before Goodbye? This is a book that I scored on Goodreads 3 out of 5. However, I think the more realistic score would be 3.5 out of 5. Goodreads just does not let me do 0.5 scores. It's good. I think it's a quick read, but it's nothing revolutionary. But what about you guys, though? Are you a big fan of reading books? Did you want to read this Reese Witherspoon book? Did you already read it? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, whenever and whatever that may be on. And until that day comes, peace out, and happy Thanksgiving.